Madam President.
Senator from Wisconsin.
Madam President, I rise to urge my colleagues to join me in opposing the confirmation of our colleague, Jeff Sessions, to be Attorney General of the United States. Now, I have great respect for Senator Sessions' long history of public service, and I am pleased to have had the opportunity to work with him where we have found common ground. However, Senator Sessions and I have frequently and sometimes vehemently disagreed on important issues, including matters like civil and voting rights, hate crimes laws, immigration, and criminal justice reform. Now, I want to acknowledge that Senator Sessions' nomination is supported by many, including many in the law enforcement community in my home state of Wisconsin. And it is vital that the Attorney General have a good working relationship with the law enforcement community. And I have no doubt that Senator Sessions will be a strong voice for law enforcement if he's confirmed. But the role and responsibility of our Attorney General is bigger than any one group. Our Attorney General must work on behalf of all Americans. The Department of Justice has a broad jurisdiction. So I have also heard from over 16,000 Wisconsinites who are opposed to his confirmation, many of whom expressed profound concerns and other concerns about what it would mean for racial and ethnic minorities, immigrants, including Dreamers, and others, were he to become our Attorney General. Hundreds of national civil and human rights organizations have expressed their opposition on similar grounds. After reviewing his record, getting a chance to meet with him in my office, and considering everything that I've heard from my constituents, I simply do not believe that Senator Sessions is the right choice to be Attorney General of the United States. I have that belief for a number of reasons. First, I am concerned that Senator Sessions will not be the independent champion for the rule of law that we need with Donald Trump in the White House. In any administration, the Attorney General's first duty is to the Constitution and to the people of the United States. This president has already issued a number of orders, legally questionable orders, including one affecting our visa and refugee programs that a number of federal courts have already temporarily blocked. We need an Attorney General who will ensure that the president's actions do not run roughshod over protections guaranteed by our nation's laws and Constitution. And I'm not convinced that Senator Sessions will be that kind of Attorney General. Secondly, I do not believe that Senator Sessions will be the champion of the civil rights of all Americans that an Attorney General must be. The Department of Justice plays a central role in enforcing our nation's civil rights laws, from investigating hate crimes to safeguarding the right to vote, to fighting discrimination against women, racial and religious minorities, and people with disabilities. At a time when there has been a disturbing increase in hate-motivated crimes and discrimination and harassment, including particularly against lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender people and people of the Muslim faith, it is even more important that the Department of Justice be strong and proactive. I have heard from constituents in Wisconsin who have faced bigotry and hate-motivated speech in the wake of the election of Donald Trump. Among them is a family from Fitchburg, Wisconsin, with 11 adopted children, including children from Ghana and China. This family received an anonymous letter proclaiming Trump won and calling them race traitors and telling them to go home. This and other reports from Wisconsinites and, frankly, people throughout the United States breaks our hearts. Senator Sessions fought against efforts to strengthen and make more inclusive federal hate crimes laws and criticized voting rights laws as, quote, intrusive. He has shown hostility to the rights of LGBT individuals and attacked the reproductive health care rights of women. Now that more than ever, we need a Justice Department that places a priority on enforcing our civil rights and voting rights laws, proactively combating hate violence, and fighting for the equality of all Americans. And I'm simply not convinced that Senator Sessions will be the champion vulnerable Americans need as Attorney General, with an unflagging commitment to make our country a fairer and more equal place. Third, I believe Senator Sessions will not take a fair or humane approach as Attorney General with regard to immigration. I was deeply troubled by candidate Trump's ugly and divisive rhetoric on immigration, and I'm appalled by the actions that he has taken thus far as president. Senator Sessions was one of his campaign's key advisors on immigration and has been a vocal opponent of bipartisan comprehensive reforms that would address our broken immigration system. The Department of Justice is responsible for adjudicating immigration cases and ensuring fairness and due process in the treatment of undocumented individuals and refugees. The department also plays a key role in our national security apparatus, helping to fight terrorism and keep the homeland safe. The President's recent orders on immigration have furthered divisions, created chaos and confusion, proven to be legally and constitutionally questionable, and are inconsistent with core American values. And in the opinion of many national security experts, they will make our nation less safe, not more. I simply do not believe that Senator Sessions, with his history of hostility to immigration and support for this president's approach, is the right person to lead the Department of Justice as it discharges its critical duties on immigration and national security. America has made great progress over the last 8 years with an administration that has taken seriously a shared responsibility to pass on to the next generation a country that is more equal, not less. All Americans deserve a strong commitment from America's top law enforcement official to act on violence born out of hatred based on race, religion, disability, sexual orientation, gender identity, or any other characteristic. At a time when voting rights and constitutional rights of women to make their own healthcare decisions are under attack across our country, we need an Attorney General who will stay true to these constitutional freedoms and not be driven by politics. For me, the vote on Senator Sessions' confirmation is a moral choice. I'm guided by my strong belief that all Americans deserve equal opportunity and freedom to pursue their hopes and dreams. I cannot support this nomination to be for Senator Sessions to be Attorney General, and I urge my colleagues to oppose him. And now I would like to take a moment and discuss what happened last night here on the Senate floor. Last night, the Republican leadership of this chamber stopped one of my colleagues from reading the words of Coretta Scott King. Coretta Scott King wrote a letter and a statement to the Senate Judiciary Committee back in 1986, expressing her opposition to Jeff Sessions' nomination to serve as a federal judge. Coretta Scott King believed, as I do, that the right to vote is a fundamental right afforded to every American. It is a right that people have lost their lives seeking and defending. Mrs. King wrote in her testimony regarding Jeff Sessions' record, I quote, "Blacks still fall short of having equal participation in the electoral process. Particularly in the South, efforts continue to be made to deny blacks access to the polls, even where blacks constitute the majority of the voters. It has been a long uphill struggle to keep alive the vital legislation that protects the most fundamental right to vote. A person who has exhibited so much hostility to the enforcement of those laws, and thus to the exercise of those rights by black people, should not be elevated to the federal bench," end quote. Mrs. King's words matter. They matter to me, and they matter to millions of Americans. Mrs. King's words should matter in this debate, and they deserve to be heard. And I believe it is simply wrong to silence legitimate questions about a nominee for United States Attorney General. And I hope that her words can be heard as this debate continues. Madam President, I note the absence of a quorum.